everyone, and welcome to our presentation on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. The 14th goal is to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas and marine resources for sustainable development. Our chosen focus target, 14.3, is to minimise and address the impacts of ocean acidification, including through enhanced scientific cooperation at all levels.
Ocean acidification, by definition, is the reduction of pH in the ocean over a specific time period, primarily through the uptake of excessive carbon dioxide. The UN SDG indicator is primarily based on observations that constrain the ocean carbon system, which are required to describe the variability in ocean acidity. The carbon system refers to pH, DIC, PCO2 and TA. Observations from the UN from the past 20 to 30 years have indicated a clear trend of decreasing pH, with pH falling by about 0.02 units per year.
The changes in acidity levels cause many problems at the organism level. It affects biodiversity, ecosystem structure, and food security. It directly impacts services provided by open ocean and coastal areas, which includes tourism, coastal protection, recreation, transportation, and cultural identity.
There are three main impacts of acidification at the molecular level. The ocean's uptake of carbon dioxide molecules produces carbonic acid as the CO2 reacts with the water molecules. Proteins form due to the dissociation of carbonic acid into bicarbonate ions. This reacts with the available carbonate ions to form more carbonic acid, which reduces the carbonate ions. These changes have been observed to cause a loss of calcium carbonate habitats and the decline of calcification rates.
The rapid reduction of carbonate ions will lower the saturation state, which causes calcium carbonate to dissolve rapidly at much shallower depths than ever before. This rising trend has occurred due to industrialization.
The oversaturation of the ocean links to the declining rate of production of calcium carbonate. This physiologically impacts the structural integrity and exoskeleton of many corals, mollusks, and ecoderms, threatening their life cycle and food webs of the ecosystem. Small shelled plankton, including pteropod mollusks, are vital to the continuation of the food chain. Changes in the plankton and algae community leads to outbreaks of toxic algal blooms.
Finally, carbon dioxide travels from the air into the ocean, then from animal to plant. When it enters the plants or animals at high levels, it has the ability to alter the internal chemistry of tissues and cells within the organism, which is currently in place to investigate ways to lower the acidification rates in our oceans. Companies are looking at the implementation of seaweed and kelp into high areas of concerns. These plants naturally take up carbon dioxide. This experimentation process is still early in the works, but holds promise for a solution to the problem of acidification. The Environmental Protection Agency of EPA is working to reduce the two main causes of acidification: carbon dioxide emissions and excess nutrients. The steps taken by the EPA for reducing CO2 includes: the EPA is working to improve laboratory experiments which will work to match real-world ecology. Monitoring changes in ocean chemistry and biological impacts, the EPA is collaborating with the National Estuary Program, NEP, and their partners to measure coastal acidification. The EPA is also using computer modelling to predict changes in the ocean carbon cycle and resulting impacts to marine organisms and ecosystems. EPA has a strong focus on increasing the protection of seagrass. This is because seagrass acts to reduce CO2 from the atmosphere. On an individual level, people and communities can begin by reducing their carbon footprint.
This can be done by switching to renewable sources for power supplies, consume locally sourced fruit, vegetable and animal products, bringing reusable shopping bags and opting out of single-use plastics, cycling or public transport, and choosing more energy-efficient products.
The most important thing individuals can do is to get involved with local non-for-profit organisations. These non-for-profit organisations include the Australian Institute of Marine Science, AIMS, Earth Policy Institute, EPI, Indigenous Environmental Network, IEN, International Conservation Union, IUCN, and Ocean Arc Alliance, OAA.
Observational trends in ocean acidification are difficult to determine because of the scale of the issue. In some regions, changes are amplified by upswelling, freshwater runoff, ice melting, nutrients, biological activity, temperature change, which influence carbon dioxide levels, which has to be taken into account when interpreting ocean acidification. Finally, ocean acidification is a complex issue in which we all need to fight together in order to protect the ecosystem in which this issue impacts.